Dom, this just may be the goofiest, silliest team of all time. There's no other way to describe this team in the way that they're winning games in the playoffs right now.
I mean, just anything that is normal about hockey, take that and throw it out the window when you're talking to Dallas Stars, because it's just they're never out of it. And also, you don't know when they're in it. Like, it's insane.
Yeah, I mean, you got the Mikko Rantanen takeover in Game 7. You have overtime winner from Tyler Seguin and Colin Blackwell in round 1. You have Wyatt Johnson scoring 9 seconds into a game. You have a pop fly from center field from Thomas Harley in that game as well. You have another Mikko Rantanen hat trick. You have a Mikael Granlund hat trick. You have the weirdest wins of all time. You win another game in OT in Game 6 against Winnipeg. And then this game, 5 unanswered goals in the third period. I don't know what to do with this team. I don't know what to expect night in and night out. I don't know what's going to happen. I have no idea what's going to happen anymore. I just don't.
And on top of all that, they ended the regular season, 0-8? Like,
yeah. 0-7 and 0-1 to start the playoffs. Yeah, 8-game losing streak.
Oh my gosh. I mean, it's a blessing and a curse to be a Dallas Stars fan, but today it's definitely a blessing.
This is Clean Sheet of Ice, a Texas hockey podcast on Apollo Media's podcast network. Last night, the Dallas Stars rode an incredible third period to a win in Game 1. Again, another Game 1 win for the Dallas Stars. Not a big deal. Clean Sheet of Ice is brought to you by Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang. Zang responsibly didn't get to have one last night, obviously in the press box, but Game 3, I'll be waking up having some Bloody Marys for a little afternoon matinee. I'm going to have a good time. Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. Zang responsibly. And shout out to Prize Picks. Use code Apollo when you sign up. Get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app. I'm your host, Tony Strankman, joined always by Dom Garcia. How are we doing on this fine Thursday morning, May 22nd at 9:30 a.m.?
You know, it's kind of like when you're in high school and you forgot you had a test, but you just kind of go in there saying, man, I'm willing to take a 40. I'm willing to take 100. And you leave that test and you get 100. And you're just like, hey, maybe, I'll take my victories, even if I deserve them or not. And that's how I'm feeling. Like, it's just, it's incredible, man.
Yeah, morning skate yesterday before the game. I went in. The locker room's a little bit more tight heading into Game 1 than they were Game 6 against Winnipeg. There's still some joking around. There's still some fraternizing and all that kind of stuff. It's a locker room, but a little bit more tight. Not a lot of the players on the ice for the Dallas Stars in morning skate. And then the press conference, Pete DeBoer was asked actually multiple times that last year the power play went over 14 against this team heading into the Western Conference Finals. This year, what has to change? And he's like, well, special teams and goaltending has to change. I mean, that's really all it was. Is like you lost the battle on special teams and your goaltending didn't stand on its head like theirs did. So if you can fix those two things, you got a really good shot at beating this team. Last night was the culmination of both of those things, because goaltending for Stuart Skinner in the first 2 periods, great. He had a lot of high danger chances. Not a lot, but a good, decent number of high danger chances that he had to face, and only allowed 1 goal on a breakaway, 1-on-1. And Jake Ottinger probably had a couple of goals that he may have wanted back. Like the Draisaitl one, the Bouchard one, I think are 2 goals that he probably wanted back, and great goals. So, I mean, they were both snipes. So it was like, can't really do too much, but I feel like Jake in his head is like, yeah, I could have had both of those saves. So you're losing the battle right there. You're 1 of 2 on the power play for Edmonton. And at that point, you're like, it's not good. And you're 0 for 1 at that point on your power play. Then the third period starts. You get a power play at the end of the period. I believe it's a high sticking on Mason Marchment. And the first minute's not great, but you get a full minute, basically 58 seconds starting the third period. And that's when the game really began, because that power play looked decent to start the third period. They were getting entries. They had a little bit of zone time. Miroheiskanen, welcome back, bud. Welcome back, 2019 Miroheiskanen, because he fired that puck from the point all the way up at the top of the blue line and fires it in with a great screen from Mason Marchment. And then he scores that goal, and all of a sudden it's 3-2 out of nowhere, 30 seconds into the period. And you're like, okay, there's a shot there's a definitely a shot that you can either go tie this game or get it down to the empty net situation, and hopefully you can score a 6-on-5 goal. After that, it's just chaos. I don't know what happened after that.
I just, and also it was so good to see Miro score that goal. I mean, the Sagan goal, the crowd just erupted, but
Crazy.
also with Miro, like that one, like you could see within a second everybody leave their feet, and it was really awesome to see. And I felt like, man, for how much we got run off the track in the early part of that game, like if we get the puck into the zone, 5-on-5 power play, like we're looking not bad. And that's when we make the good passes. Now, Edmonton owned the neutral zone, but just it felt like Dallas just they show Peter DeBoer so much in the game, and he is the locker room in that whether down 0-2, 0-3, first goal of the game, like he doesn't waver at all. And that's what you saw in that team coming out in the third period.
Yeah, I mean, after that goal from miroheiskanen, the crowd is right back in it. Obviously, the Sagan goal, the crowd was all the way in it, and then you had a couple of just rough periods, really. I mean, the Ryan Nugent-Hopkins goal to get the second goal to take the lead for the Oilers in the first period, I believe, or the second period. I can't remember which one it was. But Oscar Back tips the pass, but you've unfortunately got all four guys on one side of the ice on the power play, and Edmonton had their guy wide open, and it went right to his stick. The poke check did, and he did the right play. Oscar Back did, and went right to Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and he sniped it as well on Ottinger one-on-one. Can't really do much there. Don't blame Otter for that one. He's one-on-one with a goaltender, and we saw that with Sagan. Speaking of Sagan, though, did he chirp at John Klingberg and say, my hip doctor is better than yours? Because he blew by John Klingberg at the blue line and took all the way off. I haven't seen Tyler Sagan skate that fast in over 5 years, maybe. It may have been 2019 since he looked that healthy and that fast. And he's able to take that all the way down and just he's looking right at the goaltender, skating as hard as he can, and all of a sudden he just takes the puck, snipes it real fast, quick shot, beautiful, right above the blocker, right underneath the glove. Just a snipe, got the crowd back in it. He jumped right into the boards. He celebrates hard every goal that he gets, but he knew that was a big one to get the crowd back in it, and that was huge. But then the Oilers, obviously, they extend their lead, and Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, they had 11 combined points in the last series against Vegas. But after that, you're like, okay, they're not going to stay that quiet. And then they had 4 combined points in the first 2 periods last night, and I was like, it's not good. This is not good. I think they had 6 and 5 respectively for each of those guys in the last series, and they had 4 combined points last night, and I was terrified of what that was going to happen there.
Yeah, and their depth, man, they do a really good job of knowing their role, and they spring the Draisaitl's and the McDavid's open space to work. And boy, when they get a full head of steam, I mean, you were there, you've seen him play in person now. McDavid has to be the fastest man to ever play in the league.
The only comparison may be Wayne Gretzky, and I never saw him play on TV or in person. So I can't tell you if it's him or Gretzky, but I bet you Gretzky would say it's McDavid. So it was just stupid just watching him in the morning skate, just nonchalantly skate by, and he's flying by 3-4 dudes at a time, going through the line rushes, and he's just a completely different player than everybody else on the ice. And Draisaitl, I think, is in that same kind of conversation, the way he is able to protect the puck, much like Mikko Rantanen does. I think Rantanen does a really good job of that, but Draisaitl does the same thing and maybe even better. And he's got a crazy shot, and he does a lot. He has speed. He plays physical. He does all those things. Him and Mikko Rantanen are kind of in that same tier, but I think Draisaitl has a definite hand up on him. But watching that first 2 periods, I was like, this sucks. This is over. Like tonight, it's over tonight. Like you still got 6 more games to play with. Like just looked like we were being outclassed in a way, and we were playing decent. We just had a bad power play, gave up a power play goal. You're down 3-1. You're like, okay, this team's not going to give up a lead. That's not what they do. They come back or they protect the lead. That's what the Oilers do. And heading into the third period, I was like, if you can score on this power play, there's a shot. There's a shot. And I just didn't know. And then Miro obviously scores. Crowd goes nuts. And then just, 3 minutes later. I don't know. Yeah, 3 minutes, just over 3 minutes later, you get another power play. Put the second unit back out there because that was the unit that scored on that first power play, or really the second power play of the night. They scored on that one, and put the second unit back out there, and miroheiskanen over Mikael Granlund. He skated a little bit, took a couple steps, deked a little bit, and all of a sudden just fired a shot. And it was he's had the cleanest shots of this playoff run for any team, I think, in the Stanley Cup playoffs this season. He's had like 3 or 4 just absolute snipes and just like clean goals where there's just not a lot going on. And he just finds the one empty hole and just fires it on net. That goal on Skinner was just absolute crazy. Like I never even saw it. Like he shot it. It went off the top of the net. It bounced off the back pole. And they didn't even know if it was a goal or not. Granny did. Mason Marchment did. Jason Robertson did. And they start celebrating. It took them forever because one of the linesmen called it no goal. The other guy calls it goal, overrules them, and all of a sudden it's a tie game. And you're less than 4 minutes into the third period. You have 16 minutes more to either go get the lead or hold on to this tie and go to overtime. And it was a beautiful goal from Granlund.
Yeah, and that's when you really saw Skinner get rattled a little bit, and the fans let him have it. And he wasn't playing bad hockey. It's just when you get a shot like that and that space for Mikael Granlund, he's gonna make you pay. And boy, like I didn't know how to react because it really took like 5-6 seconds because everyone's kind of looking around, especially the Edmonton players on the ice. They were like, "What? That's a goal?" It happened in like half a second. And we get the replay, and just Ray Ferraro is just like, my goodness, Mikael Granlund, the guy that you don't worry about because there's so much star power. And then he gets left open and makes a beautiful play. And it was at that moment, like, it felt like Edmonton really started to waver in the neutral zone. And if you let Dallas get good entries, it's bad news for you.
Yeah, and then what? A couple minutes later, you go on the power play again. Another high sticking call. This one's on Kane, on Matt Duchene. They didn't even show it on the broadcast. I kept looking to see if they would show it. Never showed it. Couldn't even really see it on the Jumbotron because they're using ESPN. And I just had no idea where the penalty was called because I saw Matt Duchene fling his head back, and I was like, oh, that's a high stick. But you never really saw it. But the TSN broadcast had it. I saw it on Twitter, and it was definitely a high stick. Go on the power play for the third time in the third period. Like, you're less than 6 minutes in, and you're on the third power play of the period. Like, recipe for disaster for the Oilers. Awesome success for the Stars, just having that man advantage and keeping Leon Draisaitl and Connor McDavid on the bench for the most part. And if you can keep them on the bench, obviously you're going to have a way better shot because your team overall is better than their team depth-wise. They have great depth. I'm not discounting their depth. I'm not discounting their scoring that they have now. They're a lot better team than they were last year, I believe, and they went 7 games in the Stanley Cup Finals. So when you look at that, it's like, okay, I mean, if you can keep them on the bench somehow and keep getting power plays out of nowhere in game one, like, you take that all day long. So that power play, Mikko Rantanen had a one-timer that just barely missed. It went off the side of the net. Corral's back off the backboards, bounces back forward. Roope Hintz gets tripped. He tripped I think it was Stetcher, their defenseman. He tripped Stetcher. Stetcher gets up, trips Roope. No calls on both of them. So if you're going to let him play. Roope tries to get his stick on the puck while lying on the ice, just face down. And he realizes that Matt Duchene's right behind him. So he lets his stick up, doesn't touch the puck at all. Duchene fires the puck into the back of Roope Hintz. Roope starts screaming in pain. He's writhing around, obviously, because it's Roope Hintz. That's what he does. It's very funny. And somehow that rebound goes right back to Duchene. Duchene finds what little hole is left at that point. Puck goes in the net. They call it a goal. Skinner is alarmingly mad. He's flailing his hands. He's writhing in just anger and has no idea how that puck went in. I think he was looking for an interference call when it's all 3 of his guys that hit him. And I don't know how that puck went in the net. And great for Dutchy, because Dutchy mentioned at Morning Skate, as well as the post-game press conference last night, that he's sticking with process over result. He didn't have the goals yet. He only had 2 assists, I believe, or 3 assists maybe at that point. And he's like, if I keep doing the right process, it doesn't matter who scores the goal. Like, if you created a great shift and you had tons of pressure and then the other boys come out there and they get the goal right after, you had an effect on that play, regardless if you were on the ice or not. if you're on the ice, you had an effect in that play, obviously. So it doesn't matter who scores the goal. So sticking with process over result. Last night, he got a result. He got that goal to take the lead in the third period, 6 minutes in, 5:58, I believe, into the third period. You're taking the lead 4-3 when it looked like all hope was lost in game one. The game one curse is back. All of these things are going through everybody's head in the AAC, and including myself. Like, I thought it was never more over. And all of a sudden, we were up 4-3 with 16 or 14 minutes to play. It was just a crazy sequence of events. Obviously, you get the power play luck, you get the calls, and a lot of the times in the playoffs that you're not going to get those calls. But they were all the correct call. I don't think any of them were flopping. I don't think any of them were selling the call in any way, shape, or form. I think Duchesne tried to sell it, but he was high sticked. So it's not like you're not going to call that. So credit to the Stars for capitalizing on the power play when they went 0 for 14 last year in the Western Conference Finals. They're 3 for 4 already.
Yeah, and you said something very important about Edmonton's depth. And both you and I kind of got chirped a little bit in our
the Oilers
preview.
fans. They're all over our YouTube right now. Welcome.
I think there's a misunderstanding, and yes, the Oilers do have insane depth. Might be a little bit better than Dallas's. The difference, though, is this playoffs, our depth is producing more than their talent level. We're going to get into Sam Steele in a minute. That dude is a former first-round pick for a reason. Fourth liner. Dadonov, like, doing all of the right things on our bottom line. Tyler Seguin was on our fourth line last night. Like, it kind of, maybe it sounded a little off to Oilers fans when we said that our depth was better. But we're taking in the fact that we watch every Stars game. And right now, our depth, like, we don't expect this type of play from our fourth liners. We just kind of expect to get a little greasy, get some turnovers, and make things easy for our top lines. But these fourth liners are out there producing like crazy, man.
Yeah, and obviously with Henrique and Kane on like your third line, that's crazy depth. But you look at the Stars' third line, it's Tyler Seguin, Mason Marchment to start last night. Like, maybe you got the edge there, but it's not too far off. Like, I just think that Sam Steele is just a marvel to this world. He's a former first-round pick, obviously, and he just does all the little things. And I think on the fourth line, all of his skill that he has is a little bit buried because the ice isn't as open as if he's playing with Rupe Hintz or Mikko Rantanen or whoever it is. Like, on the Stars, all the star power that you have. He has to do things a little bit differently on the fourth line than he does on the third line, where he started last night. He's out there with Tyler Seguin and Mason Marchment for a lot of the game, and he's being able to be a creator and a shot creator and pass creator. Like, he's doing all these little things that you don't get to see all the time on the fourth line because he's out there grinding against one of their, probably the second or third line. You know, he's not going to be out there with McDavid or Draisaitl on those top two lines most of the time. But then when they're double shifting Draisaitl and McDavid together, then you can kind of mix them in with that second line and see a lot of those things. He gets that puck. It's a little bit of a scrum, and they're at the blue line. He gets that puck, good pass out of the boards, and he takes it. And he just starts skating, and he does his best Connor McDavid impression. That's what I wrote in the blog for last night in Texas Hockey on ApolloHOU.com. It's already up, so go read it if you haven't already. He does his best McDavid impression because he skates around those two defenders. He creates space on his own. He flings a crazy backhand that probably is going in the net regardless, but Seguin, he gets the slap down tip into the net and gets his second goal of the night. And the whole broadcast thought it was Sam Steele. The announcers, I watched the replays this morning, the announcers, the cameramen, everyone thinks it's Sam Steele. Tyler Seguin did get the goal, and you can see Sam go, you got it? All right. We got a goal. It doesn't really matter who got it, but I know Sam was excited to go score that one, and he didn't get the goal for it, but he created that chance on his own. Tyler Seguin was just right place, right time to get a stick on it, and he's a goal scorer. He's going to steal some goals. He's like Ronaldo. He's going to just take some goals, even though it was already going in the net. So you take that, all of a sudden you're up 5-3, and you're like, okay, this team can still come back at this point. I mean, there's 4 minutes left. We saw Vancouver score 3 empty net man advantage goals in the third period with a minute left. So, like, if anyone could do it, the Oilers could do it. So you're still a little bit on the edge of your seat, but the crowd's in a crazy frenzy. The guys on the ice look incredibly confident in their game at that point. going up 5-3 when you're down 3-1 heading into that period is just absolutely insane. But shout out to Sam Steele. He does a lot of things that people aren't going to notice, especially on TV. You don't get to see it, but in person, you can tell that Sam Steele he's a dude, and he's on your fourth line.
Yeah, and the TSN post game broadcast was mentioning like, man, Dallas will take Petrovic and he'll have a great game. Then they'll take Oscar Beck and he'll do his thing. Cody Ceci was playing for Edmonton last year. If Edmonton got this Cody Ceci, things might have been different last year. Like Cody Ceci, like he's played so well, you can't healthy scratch him. And Labuchkin the same way. Like I think that is what's so impressive with Dallas is they find a way to take players that maybe were in a bad situation or maybe things weren't correct. And when they get to Dallas and when they get their feet on them, Dumba this season was a great example of that too. Like they just gel. That's just an organizational thing from the GM to the coach to the players. Like we find a way to make things happen, and to score that many goals in a third period when we thought after those first and second periods, it was a tough look, but to do that last night was incredible.
They haven't scored more than 5 goals in the postseason so far. They had 2 games, 5-2, and they won those games pretty handedly. But to do it in the third period, when you're down heading into the third period against this Edmonton Oilers team, defending Western Conference champions, almost won the Stanley Cup, like they want that cup just as much as anyone else in this Final Four, but maybe even more because they have a double revenge thing. Like they want to prove that they're better than the Stars again, and they want to prove that they can go win the Stanley Cup, get Connor's first one, and be a whole hoopla and frenzy, first Canadian team to win it in how many ever years, over 30 now at this point, I believe. So you're looking at that and you're just like, this is the toughest matchup. This is the toughest road to the Stanley Cup that any team's probably ever seen, with Colorado, Winnipeg, and now Edmonton, and then whoever you get out of the East. That's not going to be an easy matchup either. Whoever wins this series, Edmonton or Dallas. I'm hoping it's Dallas. I just want to go to the Cup, please. But to score those 4 unanswered, and then you get the empty net 43 seconds later, I believe Esa Lindell gets the puck on a stick, just flings it right down the ice, and it goes right in. Like, incredible empty net guy, underrated empty net guy, just flinging it from 200 feet basically. And yeah, that goal was crazy because all 5 Finns were on the ice for the first time together, I believe. And you had Granny, Mikko, Rupe, Miro, and Esa all out there together. And the best thing is, if you can look over here, that's the Finnish 5 right there. That's the rally towel from last night. All 5 Finns are on the rally towels from last night. I believe they will be for the entire series until an elimination game occurs. Then they have a special one for that. So just an outrageous game where you're scoring 6 goals, 1 empty netter, 3 power play goals. And you take all of those special teams goals away, that game's 2-2. So you still have an opportunity to win the game because it's still 2-2. But you add in the crazy 6 minutes of power play to start the third period, and all of a sudden that game was turned upside down. Shout out to Jordan Alvarez.
Yeah. And also, speaking of Jordan, I saw a lot of Houston sports fans talking about, the whole debate on should you root for the Stars and things like that. Really piped up. You know why? Because last night, hockey's such an incredible postseason experience. And listen, I think it's such a terrible take to say you can't root for the Stars if you don't live in Dallas. The motto is literally one team, one state. Like and it's going to happen until we get a team in Houston. It's just like those people that root for UT that didn't go to UT or A&M or Notre Dame. It's the same thing. Like, I'm not going to fault you for growing up a fan when that school or that team wasn't in your town. Like, this is unbelievable hockey. This entire postseason, this Dallas Stars run has been unbelievable. And just enjoy the game because it's the best game on the world.
Yeah, and I don't think I'm asking Houston fans to just like become a fan of the Stars. I'm not asking you to go buy a jersey and a hat and all these things. I'm not asking you to drive up to Dallas and go to games. I'm just asking you to watch because you're going to get a team in Houston in the next few years. And I would like for you to be a little bit experienced heading into that because we saw what happens in Dallas as well as Nashville when they got teams and even Florida. Like, they just don't understand the game. Like, just kind of find the feel of the game, understand the rules, understand the playoff atmosphere is completely different than every other sport. It's not even close to what you can get in any other sport. I think playoff baseball is incredible because every pitch is live and die, but every shift is live and die in hockey, and they're flying up and down the ice. They're hitting each other. Like, it's a combination of football, soccer, and basketball. It's a completely different sport, and people in Texas weren't exposed to that until the early 90s when they come to Dallas. And obviously Houston, they had the Arrows for a good number of years there. But when you get an NHL team, just watch the Stars. I'm not asking you to root for them, but they're right there. You can watch them. It's pretty easy. You get Victory Plus. It's free. You don't have to pay for a subscription. Like, just watch them during the regular season next year, and especially during the playoffs. You've got ESPN and TNT. Everybody's got some version of YouTube TV, Hulu TV, whatever it is. Like, you can watch them. Just watch it. I'm not asking you to become a fan. And if you become a fan, great. I would love that. But just watch.
Yeah, that's exactly what happened to me. I mean, I started out my hockey fandom a Minnesota Wild fan. They were the affiliate of the Arrows. And when there's an organization that is run as great as Dallas, and you see these postseason runs and you fall in love with the Jason Robertsons and the Wyatt Johnstons, like, if you follow the Stars, it's going to be easy to become a fan because, man, like, the FINNS, like, that's enough for you to be must-see TV. And, like, I strongly suggest everybody, if you want to watch just the series, it's going to be the best series. If you want to watch every series, they've all been great. Like, the goals are up like crazy right now. And it's a great time. I know I missed last night's NBA game, but every game has been as crazy as that NBA game over in the NHL.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you start the third period, miroheiskanen, bang, power play goal. Mikael Granlund, bang, power play goal. Then you get another one, bang, power play goal. Matt Duchene, welcome to the chat. 4-3, Dallas Stars. And then you're up 5-3, and then all of a sudden it's 6-3, and you're like, I don't really know what happened. We watched Mikko Rantanen take over a game. We've watched Mikael Granlund have a hat trick in a game. Like, we've seen a lot of crazy things already in this playoffs. The goofiest, silliest team of all time. You can't change my mind on that. Like, the way that they win hockey games is not the way that you watch many teams watch hockey games. And if you saw this team last year, that team loses game one, 3-1, 4-1 with an empty net. Like, that's what it is. There was something missing. And I'm not saying that it's just Mikko Rantanen. I'm not saying it was like a healthy Tyler Seguin away. Like, the defense wasn't good enough, and their goaltending stood on his head. You lose that game one. I think they lost game one in overtime last year. Double overtime, if I'm correct, with Connor McDavid. And this team just is firing on all cylinders, and it doesn't have to be for a full 60 minutes. I know we kept saying you got to play 60 minutes of perfect hockey because Edmonton can have 5 minutes of perfect hockey and that game's over. They had 6 minutes of perfect hockey because they got power plays and they executed those power plays. They got goals. They weren't the cleanest goals of all time like Granny's, but you also had Duchene, just a greasy one right in front of the net, and where there's a lot of chaos going on. You had the miroheiskanen where you had traffic in front of the net. Great screen from Mush, and it was just different last night. And after last night, I feel a lot more confident in my pick. I was a little nervous heading into that third period with Stars and 6. I was like, they can split here. They split in Edmonton. Then you got a chance you can win 2 in a row. Now I'm like, okay, go get game 2. Don't even worry about what happened in game 1. Go get game 2. Do the same thing you did in that third period where you're just putting pressure on them. Doesn't matter if you're on the power play or 5-on-5. Don't make mistakes because McDavid and Draisaitl will make you pay. We saw that last night. Have the good goaltending like you saw in the late second, early and throughout the third with Jake Ottinger. If he's like that for the whole game, they're not scoring more than 2 goals. So if you can get 3, all of a sudden you win that game. But 6 is crazy. I didn't see that one coming in any way, shape, or form.
No, and I didn't follow the Chicklets live stream, but basically what I was told was Ryan Whitney pretty much chalked it up after the second period as, all right, let's just get some rest for game 2 because this one's in the books.
I saw
and
that
then just the avalanche, pun intended, of goals from the Dallas Stars. Also, it's weird seeing. I mean, I understand why, but I see a lot of Avs fans turn into Oilers fans out of nowhere. And our guy at Stars Countdown is quick with the receipts.
Yeah.
But no, dude, like, this is why hockey's so incredible. I mean, just you're feeling like you're out of it. My brother's sitting next to me going, man, you think this game's over? I'm like, I think Otter's going to stand tall the rest of the game, but I don't know if our offense can muster. But sure enough, they brought it and some. Now you're going into game 2. The way that game ended with the fight at the end, I'm
Yeah.
confident that Dallas is going to bring some physicality, and hopefully it slows down with the lightning speed of Edmonton Oilers forward group.
Yeah, so I was getting my win tweet off, Dick down in Dallas as per usual with the severance clip. It's a great tweet if you haven't seen it. But that puck's on the boards. I tweeted out with like 2 seconds left. This one's over. I can tweet it out. Don't want to do it. I don't want to jinx it. I did it against Vancouver. I had that puppy typed up with a minute left, and they lost that game. So I do it with more like 30 seconds left now instead of a minute. And I'm a little bit more cautious. But fired it off. I look up. Everyone's on the ice. Like on the ground on the ice, like in headlocks, tackling each other. It was chaos. So then I had to go watch the replay a bunch of times to figure out what the hell happened. Sam Steele gets bumped by an Edmonton guy. He starts to get into it with him as time has already expired. And then Corey Perry then kind of gives a good shove to the back of Sam Steele while he's getting hugged by the other guy. Liam Bishop flies in and hits Corey Perry. He's like, get the fuck off my guy. What are we doing here? The game's over. Get out of here. Go to your locker room. What are we doing here? And then Corey Perry just like old man strength. He's 40 years old. Liam Bishop could literally be his son. He just turned 21. Corey Perry is 40. He takes his gloves off. He's shoving them to the ice. Liam Bishop has his hands on his head because obviously he's went through concussion protocol in the last few weeks, and you don't want to do anything stupid. And the game's already over. Confetti is literally falling from the rafters, which I found hilarious. That confetti is falling, and the Oilers are fighting over the 6-3 loss, the meltdown that they had in the third period. But Corey Perry just starts dogging him, and he looks at the ref. He's like, no, I am going to hit him. I am getting him. We are fighting right now. And the refs were like, no, you're not. And the time's expired. Like, if there's still seconds on the clock, then maybe I might let you fight, but this game's over. What are we doing? Get to the locker room. And Bishop ends up getting up. He puts his jersey back over his head because he got pulled over by Corey Perry, and Corey Perry's still skating around, gloves off, and like moving up his sleeves. He's ready to go. And Liam Bishop's like, I don't know what you're trying to do, man. Like, look at the scoreboard. Go to your locker room. Like, this game's over. It's 0-0 on the clock. It's 6-3. Go to your locker room. We'll see you on Friday night. So we didn't really see that in Winnipeg. We saw it a little bit in Colorado in game 5, I believe, and see a little bit of frustration come out. But this is game 1. So the hate has already built up immensely in this series. So heading into game 2, I would expect maybe not a fight, but definitely a lot more physicality, maybe a few more dirty hits from both sides, like conservatively dirty. Not going to be too late on it, but going to make sure you know that you feel that, even though the puck's been gone for about a second at that point. Keep your head on a swivel, and I would assume both teams are going to be looking for that. Corey Perry and Evander Kane, especially for the Oilers, and then obviously Liam Bishop and whoever else wants to get into it, like Jamie Benn, if he's on the 4th line now. So, I mean, we can survive that. Thought Jamie looked really good last night, by the way.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that fight at the end of the game was just pointless and stupid and didn't make any sense to me because I was like, what the fuck are we doing here? There's no point to this in any way, shape, or form. You're not going to get in our heads. We just won 6-3 on power plays. Like, maybe stop high sticking us, idiot. Like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah, no, it was game 2. I'm going to see a lot of vintage Jamie Benn back checks and really getting into it. And we need it because, boy, that first period, it wasn't just McDavid. Like, just seeing really fast skaters for Dallas, like Thomas Harley, just get blown by. And Otter coming in clutch, like, it's going to be a big one. And I need that exact crowd that was there last night because that crowd was awesome. I know they seem to just do up themselves every single game. And it was a loud Stars chant during the anthem.
I called them out during that Tampa game, I believe, and maybe late March, early April. I can't remember when it was, when they lost in overtime in the shootout. Like, the crowd sucked. It's like a Thursday night. What are we doing? And after that losing streak, obviously, heading into the playoffs, crowd's been great. Every game, they've won up themselves every time. And exceptional crowd. Bring it back on Friday night. We'll be back Saturday morning with another episode of Clean Sheet Advice to recap game 2, no matter what happens. And this series is going to be a dogfight, man, especially after the last whistle's blown and there's a fight on the ice. You win that game 6-3 kind of out of nowhere. You go 3 for 4 on the power play, where last year went 0 for 14. So things are looking a little bit different than they were last year. I think these teams are a little bit more matched up evenly than they were last season, and they got depth. We got depth. We got the better goaltender. Skinner did look completely lost in that third period after the second power play goal when it's a tie game, and you just got to keep capitalizing, keep building on process, and focus on the process over a result. You're going to get the results if you do the right process. So get the pucks in cleanly, have good goaltending, convert on the power play. It's an easy formula to say. I know it's incredibly hard to do on the ice. So game 2, Friday night, I'll be in the building. We'll be back on Saturday morning for another episode of Clean Sheet of Ice. Dom, any last words?
I went out on a limb last night before the game. I see people doing the shooting stars predictions, and I just thought, man, I had I didn't see morning skate. I had no info, but I thought, if Tyler Seguin can get going on that third or fourth line, it'd be nice. And sure enough, he did. Go back to Winnipeg. I had Thomas Harley showing up in game 6. Showed up. Game 2, I'm gonna need a Rupe Hintz goal. I'm gonna need just a bum rush entry. He's huge. I didn't realize how big he was.
Large human.
And I need that physical, like Nathan McKinnon style Rupe Hintz goal, because if you get him going, you'd have all but what I think Rantanen would be the last Finn that had not scored in just the first 2 games of this series. It'd be nuts. And I think Rupe is going to be his time game 2.
Give me that flying Finn highlight reel goal from Seattle series a couple years ago, where he flew through, did the in between the legs deke, and then flung it on net, just high, top 90. That'd be sick. I'm with you. I'll take Rupe, but that's your call. Well, you've got it on record now. You're 2 for 2 in your last 2 goal scoring calls, so maybe it's 3 for 3. I would hope it is, because get Rupe going, it's going to be scary hours. Yeah, absolutely incredibly scary hours for everybody else in the league. But Stars are in the Final Four. They win another game 1, second consecutive game 1 win. Haven't seen that in a long time since we've seen that. So Stars win the game 6-3 against the Edmonton Oilers in game 1 on a bunch of power plays in a crazy third period. But we'll be back very, very soon with another episode of Clean Sheet of Ice, Texas Hockey Podcast. On Saturday morning, we'll be recording after Friday night's game in AAC. Shout out to our sponsor, Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. We love Zing Zang. Zang responsibly. Best Bloody Mary mix you can get out there. It's up here behind my head. We love Zing Zang, America's #1 Bloody Mary mix. Zang responsibly. And shout out to Prize Picks. Use code Apollo when you sign up. Get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Prize Picks is a daily fantasy app. It is not sports betting, so it's easy. Win yourself some money with Prize Picks using code Apollo when you sign up. Get up to $100 matched on your first deposit. Dom, thanks for joining me. Listeners, thank you for joining. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't already on any podcast platform, or Apollo HOU on YouTube. Love you guys. We'll be back very, very soon with another episode of Clean Sheet of Ice, a Texas Hockey Podcast.